Hi, I'm Rob Decker, and I'm going to demonstrate for you guys today a bonded insert on a low-level loop, sometimes called Berber carpet, and it is a little more difficult. One of the things that you need to keep in mind is that you do not always get a straight, square, up and down pattern. If you do cut it in that fashion, what will happen is that you are going to cut through some of the face yarns, and with a loop carpet, when you cut the face yarns, you might be doing yourself a disservice. So this is going to be about the technique that I use to be able to do these effectively and to be able to make it look really good for my customers. So now, one thing I do want you to remember about this procedure I'm working on here, this is brand new carpet, never been walked on, from a sample in a local retailer, and the repair or the donor piece that I'm using to put in here is also brand new. So that's going to affect a little bit of the way it's going to look, and it's going to look a lot better here on brand new carpet, inserting brand new carpet, than it will be in a wear area. But the purpose of this video is really just to give you the basics of how to get this done. So the first thing we want to do is just identify that there is a damaged area in the middle here. And so I am going to be able, and one thing I want you to know is that this is the shape of, for this particular piece of carpet, this is the shape that we're going to be cutting out. It's called a parallelogram, and it basically follows the rows that you're going to find. So this is the way to do this, and this is the shape that you're going to want to, instead of a square shape or a round shape, you're going to want to cut a shape very much like this to be able to get all of your rows. Now you see how that row there, we have a full row going across there. Well, that is because I was able to cut it that way. So let's begin. The first thing that we need to do is identify a row here. So I'm going to take, there it is, I'm going to take this, and we're going to start looking at the lines in here. Then I'm going to put this edge right down in a row, and I'm going to follow that row all the way across, and then I'm just going to make sure that that is right down in there. Then I'm going to tilt this slightly. I'm going to take a brand new blade, and I'm going to get right in between my straight edge and my fiber, and I'm going to go ahead and make a nice, what we call a row cut here. So I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to go right along my edge, trying not to cut any of the yarns themselves. Now I'm just going to pull this up to show you that we do have, well, we did that. I'm going to show you that we do have separated right at the row. Exactly what I wanted, okay? Alright, so we're just going to put that back down for now so that we get everything nice and even. Then we're going to do just the opposite for going this way. So, going to find a row, here. Okay, actually we're going to do this way. We're going to find us a vertical row. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And then, okay, so what I've done, and it will happen, I was following one row, and I jumped a row and began to cut in the other, and I'll show you what I've done. So here I was cutting that row, and I jumped over into this one, which we will be able to fix that, and it's not that big of a problem. I'm actually glad that it happened. So we're going to use this as a template one more time. and I do not want to cut anymore. So what I've done is I've marked a row that I am going to cut on that row. Remove my mark. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut this row right along that edge, and we are going to go ahead and be able to take this piece out. Wonderful, wonderful. We are almost done with the removal. Okay, now that we've got that basically set, we're going to very carefully help the trim here. We're just going to make sure that we get right down that same row. And we're going to try to disturb these face yarns as little as possible, getting this accomplished. Okay, there we go. Now, we want to disturb these as little as possible, but we do want to go ahead and trim this up. Now, we're going to trim this from this direction, and that extra row that I put in there, we are just going to go ahead and remove that with the scissor. There we go. Okay, now real gently, we're going to clean that up, and we're going to go ahead and take this little extra piece of row that shouldn't be there. Now what we want, guys, is we want perfection. We want every single fiber of face yarn that is still present there, we want it as whole as possible. So I'm just kind of cleaning up, making sure that everything is about the way I want it. Okay, very nice. Those will go in with the seam sealer. Okay, wonderful. So go ahead and get those down there. Okay. Very good repair area. This is going to go very well. Now we're going to be beginning to fit this in, and this is known as the dry fit. Now what we want to do is identify which row that we need to cut, which is, you see the existing yarn here. So what we want to do is cut this row. So very carefully with my scissor, I am going to mark that row, and we're going to bring that up and we're going to cut that off. And we are trying very hard not to disturb other yarns. We are just getting this trimmed, and then let's go ahead and fit it as a dry fit. Where we want it. Okay, let's go ahead and tamp this down a little. Okay, right there, and right there. Okay, now there's going to be just a little bit of additional trimming, nothing much, but during the dry fit we really don't want to do a whole lot of trimming, but we do just want to make sure that things are going to look about the way we want. Okay, so to me, as a dry fit, that works. I'm very happy with the dry fit. It will meld in a little better when we are able to do the we're able to put this in permanently. So I'll go ahead and lift that out and set that aside. Now, one very important thing that I like to do when I get my dry fit where I want it, I'm going to turn this, or I'm sorry, yes, I actually want to flip this down, and I'm going to mark this, that this with the arrow is going to be pointing that way when I turn it back. So that's what I want. So I'm going to put this aside real quick, and we're going to begin prepping our edge and making. Now, for today's demonstration, we are using a Cool Glide iron, which uses this seam tape. It's very good seam tape, and it will serve you well. So we're going to use that. So we're going to put this, cut it a little longer, of course, than what we need. Okay. And then put this. Wonderful. Okay. Now I usually take off a little of the edge where it's going to meet, just because this little last piece of the edge foil does not have the proper glue on the outside. If you can see that, this is glue, this is not. So I typically am going to just clean that edge off, make sure that I have glue everywhere that I want it as a prep.